Hi, I'm Kathleen Drew, and I want to be your next Secretary of State. I'm running for office because we need to expand voter access, make sure that all eligible voters are encouraged to vote and to have an advocate for democracy. I think it's very important for that Secretary of State to have the statewide experience that I have, having worked for the governor and being a state senator. I'd really like the support of Washington Bus. It's a grassroots organization who's going to help me get the word out to young voters. Young voters are really critical in this year's election. We can vote for progressive candidates and progressive issues to move us forward in the state. The top issue I want to work on when I'm elected to Secretary of State is access to voters. We have seen across this country states that have taken backward steps, restricting voter rights. It's very important to have someone in the Secretary of State's office who is fighting those barriers, who is fighting against voter suppression, and who is in fact working to expand access to voters. In the first 100 days that I'm in office, I'll work on 3 pieces of legislation and on proposing my budget to the legislature. Those 3 pieces of legislation include pre-registering 16 and 17-year-olds. You know, about 40% of the people who register to vote do it when they get their driver's license, but our own sons and daughters in this state can't because they are too young when they get their driver's license. This bill will allow them to pre-register, so on their 18th birthday they will be ready to vote. The second piece of legislation will be Election Day registration. This is very significant because it's very difficult to keep track of the due dates that we have when it comes to elections. People get energized about the election and need to have that opportunity to register right up to the last day to vote. I will work hard on that legislation as well as on voting rights legislation, which allow communities that have a history of racism to move towards district elections rather than citywide elections to make sure we have an even playing field for all people to be represented. I welcome the support of young people in my campaign. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I'm running for Secretary of State. I've been involved in elections since I was very young and worked on my college campus to register students to vote. I just feel very strongly that the greater access young people have to the ballot, the more progressive and more responsive our elected officials will be. We'll work together to reach out to other young people to encourage them to vote and make sure that their elected officials represent the issues that are most important to them.